checks or if that means anything. But if I take away 2017, because I translated in vivo 17 to within the living, and then the year 2017, I think there was it kind of started off in 2017. I think this sort of like the start of this like UAP movement. I think, was there a congressional meeting or like some sort of meeting in 2017, or am I wrong about that? Maybe, I don't know, but like that's something else I got.
That's when whistleblowers first came forward to the New York Times.
Okay. And one more thing, four animals was referenced in the movie. Four common American animals: the fox, the raccoon, the deer, and the cardinal, which has very symbolic meanings in spirituality. But I can end there because I'm going over.
Oh, no, you're good. I actually want to ask you guys some questions, but hey, Emily, good to see you. I turned off your camera just because on the weekends people tend to vape and drink alcohol on camera, and I don't want the over 21 label on the live. So I'm sorry. You're beautiful. Thank you. It was me. It was my fault. I shut it off. All right, guys. Thank you, Dave. That was a really good assessment. I want you guys to touch on whether or not you think that there were Easter eggs in the movie, because Spirit said, hey, this is kind of a documentary. I believe this stuff to be true. So what were the Easter eggs regarding like consciousness and remote viewing and black ops programs and advanced weaponry and religion and the struggle between government and private corporations? And were whistleblowers represented, in your opinion? What about the symbology? Let's talk about the crop circle. Let's talk about all the things. Robin, back to you. Go for it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I wanted to say, like, Dace just brought up the deer and like the animals or whatever. Like, is that not insane? Like when they've talked about like the abductions, or like when people have been, had encounters, I should say, that like a lot of the people that have like gone missing or whatever has been when they've been like elk hunting. And they always say that they look like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't really move, and it's a weird reflection. Like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't really move, and it's a weird reflection. Like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't really move, and it's a weird reflection. Like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't really move, and it's a weird reflection. Like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't really move, and it's a weird reflection. Like they're in glass boxes or whatever, and they don't
at this point. They've had a week. So, yeah, do your thing. Go ahead, Dave.
What was I going to say? Yeah, that node or that like stick that they use, I think that's like, because I think it was underlined in the movies about adaptions to like dormant DNA. I think the stick offers a temporary like acceleration of that process. Will happen in like generations down the line, or will happen maybe with interaction with these beings. I think that was another Easter egg of what might be to come with more interaction with these beings. I think that's about them abilities, but it's something that one is already good at that gets amplified, or gets like adapted in this dormant DNA. It's one that's already becoming like an ability. Like with one character it was mathematics, with another character it was knowing, or like this like precognitive ability. I think that's what might be to come with these, maybe some event or some like interactions with these species. Maybe I think the animal was good as well, because it kind of opened my eyes to an experience I had when I saw a being with orange eyes, orange glowing eyes, and the last like most significant encounter was an animal like almost like dog/cat, just sitting unreactive to my emotion, unreactive to what I was doing, just observing outside a tent with like the orange eyes, and there was no light that could have been shining off it, so they could have made that color. I didn't have like a phone or any light outside, but it was like pure like just observation, and it was like, it wasn't, I was like obviously a bit startled by it, but I went back out and it wasn't there anymore, and that was the last encounter. So it's good that they brought that up in the movie as well, appearing as animals, because it kind of opens my mind to the experience I had. I was uncertain what it could be, but now I think I'm more defined on what it could have been. So I'll end there.
Interesting. I'll take it. Thanks so much, Dave, and thank you for sharing your story. I have a question for you guys, and I just want to incorporate it in, and I see you, Carol. Hi. Production was rushed, right? It was done in 3 months, which tells me there's intent with the movie. So short gray through the whole thing, and then it's all white. Why? Why?
Actually, I wrote that myself. I was kind of curious as to why there were not more. Why it was kind of, I don't know, I kind of thought it was stereotypical. I would think that and now maybe that's all we've had contact with. That could be a possibility as well. I think that's kind of fascinating, actually. I wondered that at the very end. I thought there was going to be a lot more disclosure on like other races. Also about the stick thing. So I think it's pretty cool that they are touching on the transference of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Also, would we be surprised if there were a lot more elements that we aren't aware of that we could utilize for these things?
Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Robin, I'm gonna jump back for just a second. So again, production was rushed. And we know that Spielberg has had historically accurate information according to CIA declassified documents and whistleblower claims. So production was rushed, which tells me there's intent, which means that every scene has significance. So again, short gray through the whole thing, and then it's all white. Why? What's the symbology? What is Spielberg trying to say? Because there is something here. I haven't quite put my finger on it just yet, but there's something going on. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so, I mean, if you think about, like, so what would be the most common, what is being exposed in the files, let's say, for example, right? I haven't read all of them, but is it not, historically just been short grays and maybe
his grandchildren, both of his grandchildren, the same school, graduating together, got scholarships. It's so amazing. They made the news. They cool. Their GPA was that high when they made the news. I'm happy for him too. So yeah, always as far as I'm there, I got many men around me. Many women.
What?
Hold on, hold on. Let the man speak for a second. Let the man speak for a second. All I'm trying to say is that when we love our children, our nieces, I can sit out here and give them my
like, if you
experiences.
think about like what have we talked about numerous times when you have like we
I can't tell you
potentially
what to
are
do according to what I've done, but what I
protection or the deterrent from for the underground. Right. And then so what comes after us? Maybe it's the Greys. And then what comes after them? Maybe it's the closer you get to the inner world of them. Right. So maybe it's the levels of defense that are like if you have an army and you have like your people that are on the ground walking, and then you have your people that are on the horses, and then you have your people that are in the background doing, from far away. Like maybe it's that.
Yeah, interesting. I love these theories. All right.
And you know what else? Real quick, yes. And one last thing, when we talked about Kubrick and Spielberg, they had similar alignments. Very interesting, right? Because it's the capacity what the universe gives them. So I'm telling you, like I'm gonna watch it one more time, Wendy, too, because I loved it. I loved it today. I gotta tell you, and it has so much for us to enjoy. Our little game, our treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt. It's like an Easter egg.
You bet. All right. Thank you, Astro. Gideon, welcome back. Or hold that thought, Gideon. Days, go ahead. 2 minutes. You're up.
So my theory is, I've heard this before, it's tall whites, like overseers or like elders or like people, the species or the type of species that oversee the small gray.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think it's fascinating that's the one that comes out last. It's like the elder that comes out and speaks the words of wisdom to the two main characters. I think it's portraying that's the elder, or that's the one that's in the chain of command, or like building up to the chain of command, or building up to the chain of like wisdom. Maybe they grow taller as they get older, or if they reach that age, they get an elder stage. Also, I wanted to add that, what was it? I lost it. I was trying to think of something else. It may come back to me.
All right. Thanks so much, Days. Caro, please, you're up.
Yeah, I just had a thought about the fact that there's like size disparities, and the one was shown first, right? So the small ones being shown first, and the chick in the film, how struck she was by what she saw, and that was very small. And I think maybe this is just a theory that I just came up with, that introducing them in that way could make us, we would almost look at them like children. The smaller version, right? Also, I gray shape and size, so I think that would be a lot less, maybe catastrophic for somebody, because they kind of expect what's coming, right? So that might be another reason why they would do that.
Thank you so much, Carol. All right, Gideon, hi, welcome to the channel. Welcome back.
I'm good.
Okay. What brought you up, friends? Here.
Oh, I wanted to speak on what you mentioned earlier about all the witchcraft, wizardry, Harry Potter bullshit stuff.
Yeah, we'll come back to that because I'm trying to separate the issues. Yeah. So talk about this.
If you wind back the clock to 2008, Spielberg comes out with Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. So you go into the scene where they take Indy to Area 51, which has a bunch of other artifacts in this interpretation. They open up a metallic box that has a lot of metal in it, and they use gunpowder to boxes on boxes. So when they go cut it up, it has this little outline of a little gray kind of thing, but it has a metal kind of, and then has scar and other stuff. And in my theory, that I be kind of a sequel to it, kind of like to kind of like, there's a theory that people say, I can't remember the second movie, but Willy Wonka has that, in the Chocolate Factory has a sequel with like the one called The Train or something like that. It's got like some famous actor, but there's a theory like that. So that's why I think that when they show it in the film, they have little grays, is because that is the little gray in there that he was referring back to in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
All right, I'll take it. Getting back. Thank you so much. Days. Back to you, I guess. Go for it.
Yeah, I remember now. It's like these species being shown is kind of like, so it wouldn't be, in my perspective, the other ones, like the ones from Pleiades, because they're not too much of a experiential shock, because they look a lot similar to our human species. They even share a name with one of the areas of the world in Scandinavia. So they would be very familiar to us. The greys is sort of like, in my opinion, an intermediary between the first species that I talked about that's familiar with an area of the world, northern area of the world, in Europe. And yeah, I think, and the other far out species that have been mentioned, one relating to like a crocodile or like a dinosaur without saying the name, and the other one relating to like insects we see in, so they would be like far out ones that would cause the most shock, I would think, in the world, or the most like uncertainty, whereas the greys would be like an intermediate between the familiar and unfamiliar. So I think it's easing us in, because this has been the one that's shown in movies for the last century nearly. So I would think, since that's the one that's been conditioned out to us, I think that's the one that will be first introduced, and then second would be the northern, like North people from the Pleiades. I think that's how it's going to go.
All right. Thanks so much, Dave. And I would agree. There is no way on God's holy earth that if there was going to be another species disclosed first, in my opinion, that they would have put the greys in the film. To clear up any, I guess I was under the basic assumption in this room that most people felt that the tall whites, or the tall grays, we can call them tall grays, are kind of the supervisor of the smaller gray beans. So at least that's what whistleblower claims say, is that they're kind of the ones that call the shots, and then the short grays kind of do their thing, the little worker bees. So hopefully that clears up any confusion down in the chat. Anybody else want to weigh in on the movie? And I can repeat some of the stuff that I felt like there was some symbology in.
Like Alien and Predator.
Yeah. So again, remote viewing, black ops programs, consciousness, advanced weaponry, religion, the struggle between government and private corporations, which is my personal favorite topic. Were the whistleblowers represented symbology and crop circles? Anybody else want to weigh in?
Can I talk for a second, if that's okay?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so this has been like on my mind a lot since the movie came out and everything. So when I was a little girl, I used to sleepwalk a lot, like all the time. But the main times I did, I would be in the snow. So I would be walking out in the snow, just staring at something, and my mom would bring me in and warm my feet up, like thinking nothing about it. Like this was in the 80s. So like, you know, anyway, this movie really got to me a lot, like with the little girl out in the snow, not feeling anything, following animals. Like I cried a few times during this because for some reason it reminded me when I was a kid and I used to sleepwalk and I never knew, you know, what I was doing. What are you doing out here? You know, and you just wake up like, I have no clue, you know? But the older I got, I just started remembering things like, and it was like dumb things, you know, that you never even like, oh, that means nothing. But when I watched the movie, I just started crying because it reminded me of things like that, like seeing lights and like different things, you know, and it was like bittersweet almost. Like I can't even explain it. Like it was just crazy.
Yeah, Emily, you're not the first person who's told me that. I think Bree down below, yes, she also said that. Did you guys was it emotion invoking at the end or any time during the movie for any of you? And if so, what was that emotion you were feeling?
It definitely was. I'm actually not the type that would cry during a movie. But I cried. I absolutely cried. And it was sort of unprompted because what really was going on at that time, I really don't even think there was anything that could have been like so sad, like nobody was, you know, passing away or like, I don't know. Yeah, disclosure is amazing to me. But like, is it going to invoke tears? Maybe on the day that it actually happens. But from a movie, yeah, I don't know. It was really strange. So, you know how I feel about that kind of thing with the fact that they insert it from what I understand, and in my opinion, of course, they insert some frequencies and stuff so that you know we feel it. They want us to feel it. It's so much more impactful for us if we can feel what's going on. So I think that was definitely done intelligently.
Can I weigh in on that? So, you know, because it's interesting, right? Because it is like an art, right? It's an art to put up something like in cinematography and make a feeling out of that. Not every director can do it. And I think that the feeling is connected to the open heart, right? Because like these powers don't have an effect on me because I'm conscious of what they are. So that I'm here to utilize them, right? So I'm telling you, this right here, this connection, not only for it being rushed, purpose, and you start to see more, the more you see it I'm like, wow, second time. And when you see it like in that theater expression, when I felt it, you know what I felt the most? I felt compassion.
Right, you are not alone in that, Astro. A lot of people said compassion and empathy. Some people, there were times during the movie where I was angry. Not at the ETs of my own species, the special access programs. Anybody else for a hot minute kind of pissed off? Yeah. All right, everyone. All right. Anybody else on the emotional part of it?
Yeah, I would say I kind of felt like a resonance of, I mean, for like, okay, for that girl and that guy, like when she was speaking like the light language, right? And like everybody looking at her going like, when did you learn to speak this or that? Or like, what is she saying? And she's like, no, I was speaking English. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and kind of like for myself anyways, feeling like that, like out of place, like what is going on around me? Like, why are people like looking at me like I'm so weird? You know what I mean? Maybe that's the compassion part or like whatever, but like to feel like the outsider for a minute, you know what I mean? And like you have this knowledge or whatever, and that people are like, people don't understand it and they fear it. And so they either chase after you and decide they're going to hate you and prove that you're crazy, or, you know, they're going to be like, yes. And they're going to be like right there with you. Right. So for me, I would have to say, that was where my feeling of resonance was with it, if that made sense.
It makes perfect sense, Robin. All right, anybody else?
Yeah, just one more quick thing about the experiencers. Somebody just mentioned down in the chat about the experiencers and why it was felt so much with them. One of the things that really pissed me off is that it was like a full-on admittance of the fact that they suppress, they stuff, they silence, and they might even delete, right? So I think that's pretty interesting that that was brought up, and the fact that you know what, man, so many more people would be so much more comfortable if that kind of shit wasn't happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Carol. Sorry, Astro, go ahead.
Did any of you pick up on the part, though, that every time that they were able to get into their head is because there was a moment of doubt? There was a moment of doubt with the girl when she was like, I don't think they're ready. I don't think they're ready, right? You allow it to come in. Don't have fear that they can do this to you. They can't do that to me. I mean, you have to walk and understand how to be yourself, right? But these little things that came up, right? Every time they became unconscious, boom. So there's a lot of messages in the film, right? Because I don't see it like fear. Yes, I mean, these things are around us, right? But, you know, you always say, Wendy, it's go within, and then you see the power that you have. So, and I'm sorry for my voice, guys. It is so insecure for me.
If you think about like when, as that girl, as she was sitting at the table holding, what was she holding? What was she holding? She was holding the cross thing, right? As she's holding it so tightly and it's just digging into her hand. But then the minute that she lets go of it, so that's her faith in what she believes in, right? Where she finds her strength. And as soon as she lets it go, then what happens? Then he's able to enter. He's able to see from where she's seeing. He has her, right? So if we think about it in the aspect of like whatever your faith or your belief is based off of, the minute that you try to like second guess or you don't truly believe in it, then what happens? Your whole foundation shakes. So if you truly, truly, truly believe in 1,000% believe in whatever it is that has given you the strength to be here, to continue to exist, why are we letting other people cause us to question it? If you're confident in who you are, in your own authenticity, and you know that there is nothing that is not meant for you that is going to happen in your life, if you trust the universe, then what can shake you? If we look at things as being the opportunities for growth, the possibilities for expansion, then what?
Yes, well said, Robin. Well said. I have one more question for you guys, then I promise I'll stop asking about disclosure day. So again, rushed production, intent, right? An agenda, trying to tell us something, right? Spielberg very clearly, very openly acknowledged in the movie and put into play to gaslight abductees in order to suppress.
Not just because of the movies, it's because a universal law, they have to tell you. So I think everything that you watch and that is true in some way. So everything that y'all think that is going on, it is true. That's all I gotta say right now. Information. But I'm still young. But I just need to like grow up and like find a better.
You're doing good. You're doing good, Halo.
Get more wisdom. So let me tell y'all this right now, all right? What we are saying right now, it is true.
All right, thank you, Halo. Some people some people do believe that they, whoever you deem they to be, have to reveal some portion of the truth. That's not universal, though. That's an opinion. So as far as we are right or wrong, I don't know. I've never been dead. I've never been given the answers. I've never left the atmosphere. So to me, it's all speculation at this point. But let's see what the panelists have to say about whether or not they have to disclose everything. Guys?
All right.
Universal laws. What are your thoughts? And again, just personal opinions.
Okay, so
Hey,
go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, really, Kara, go ahead.
Robin, you go, please.
Oh my God, okay.
All right, fine. All right, fine. I'll go. So my personal opinion on this one is that there might be some kind of religious sort of karmic retribution thing that they're like trying to avoid. But I actually think a little bit differently on this. And I think that the majority of the reason why they disclose what they disclose and or push narratives is because that we steer the Earth's ship in the way that we are all co-creating reality. And so they push narratives and they put things out and they call it predictive programming. And there's all these different conspiracies about it. But the reality is I think that they are aiming for a goal. And the goal is to have us create the reality that they want. So yes, do they have to disclose for their own religious purposes? Possibly. But I think it has a lot less to do with karma than it does creation.
Thank you, Carol. And that resonates with me. That's my personal opinion as well. Robin, what you got?
So, I mean, do they have to disclose anything? And like, is there going to be consequences if they don't? If we look at like, because there's 12 universal laws, right? Supposedly, whatever, right? The ones that I've known about, right? And all of them have to work together cohesively in order for things to function and for things to be in alignment. And so whether there's going to be consequences or not, I don't think that there's like in the aspect of they have to give us information, but individually they have to follow their own path and their own purpose in order to maintain who's unmuted. They have to follow like their own path and play their own part in order for everything else. It's like the domino effect, right? So everything has to fall perfectly into place in order for the 12 universal laws to I just lost my train of thought. Whoever's unmuted, can we please mute up and come back to me, Wendy? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Shelia, I'm going to go ahead and mute you up. My friend, you've got some feedback. Back to you, Robin.
Okay, so the 12 universal laws, there's the laws of attraction, the laws of karma, if you want to call it that, right? But that just follows in the law of attraction and the law of consequence. There's many different universal laws in that aspect. And so if we know that if we're working in alignment with ourselves, we know that whatever path we influence or comes across our path is exactly where it's supposed to be. So I don't think that there's going to be like a air quotes consequence for them per se individually or for the world as a whole, but I know that their path affects my path, right? So if I look at it in that aspect, and I know that if one person is not following their sole purpose, then it's going to domino effect at some point in time, and that energy is going to affect me, right? It may not be direct, but it's still going to affect my energetic frequency at some point in time. So that's the way I believe in it, if that made any sense.
No, it did. It made perfect sense to me, Robin. Yes, thank you. Right, who else? Do they have to tell us the truth to a certain extent?
Like who? The clowns in America? Or the universal laws? Well, yeah, I mean, it's science, right? Have you ever gone into a cave and go, echo? There's a law, it comes back, right? Whether we like it or not. So those are the laws of the universe, right? So it's like a pendulum, right? And through another, you become a relatable being. And so, yeah, I mean, like, I just, that's what I think, Wendy, not to go so deep into it. So I'll leave it at that.
No, I'll take it. Thank you so much, Astro. All right, to the current panelists, when you scroll away for a really long period of time, it tells my algorithm you're no longer interested, and it stops sending people my way. So I need you guys to stay on the screen, only scroll away if need be for like 30 seconds at a time. Otherwise, I have really strict mods, and they will drop. So with that, who else wants to weigh in before we move on?
Real quick, I just want to say one last thing. Okay, so
I'm sorry, Astro. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so consequences, right? Consequences is what is reality, right? You get to see the consequences for being a badass person with a humble heart or a cruel bitch, right? Through consequences, right? They're transparent. And so and that's what karma is. Karma's not bad. Karma's good. Karma gives you love. I think we look at that word kind of negative, right? It's just law of consequences. Do they have to tell us the truth? Why don't we take that and bring a little bit, like if you mix apple cider with baking soda, there's a foam that creates from that. It's chemistry. So the universal laws are more that you cannot contain anything as alive forever. So there's always cycles that, now do people find out? No, I don't believe so, but not all of you are not conscious, but that's all I wanted to say. All right, I'm rambling on.
I agree with Astro about what he was just talking about, and what your internal beliefs are is what you're going to believe, and I guess it's about opening up, your own consciousness and believing more, and I think that's what, we're kind of held up on a little bit with some of the masses to open their sight a little bit wider, and I think that that's happening, and I think that we're helping to push that out. I mean, I really think that it will come. I think that the laws of the universe, I think that they do play a part in this. I think that everything does have a season, it has a pattern, and it will come, it will change. So I think that how long can you keep something like dumbed down? You can't. It's already spreading. So I think that it is going to touch all shores. At least they're going to consider what if, and the what if is enough to make them question themselves. So their belief system could change, and then, they could look to the possibility that, hey, it makes perfect sense that with all of the galaxies and all of the places that there could be life on this planet, and all of the life that we don't even know about in ecosystems that we don't know about, there could be more. So I think that it all plays a part in it. Do they have to tell us? No, I think they kind of do what they want to. But in a way, do I think that everybody who's involved with that is trying to hide it? Absolutely not. I think that the drop of Disclosure Day and the fact that it was pushed out the way that it was is because it's coming. That's my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Gypsy. Thank you. All right. Anybody else before we say hi to Shelia?
The one thing I wanted to wind it back to just the one detail about Disclosure Day. About if you notice the scene where she's holding the cross, it's the left hand. The left hand in Reiki and energy exchanges the receiving hand. Obviously, you can receive in other ways, but that is one of the most powerful ways to receive something. So that's what I saw in that scene. As to the 12 universal laws, I'm going to have to study up on that because I never really heard about that stuff. As to do they have to, I believe that in my opinion, the government should be more open with everything. We shouldn't be having black ops programs and other stuff, because how can we have a truly free and open society if you keep secrets like that? That affects 300 million people in one nation or other nations. So that's my opinion.
Gideon, thank you for hand and receiving statement, because again, with Spielberg, we know that historically with his movies, whistleblowers have claimed incredibly eerie accuracy. And so I believe that everything in this movie has a meaning, has intent, that there's an agenda. And so interesting that you bring up the left hand and the receiving. Thank you so much for that. All right, anybody else before we say hi to Shelia? Once, twice. All right, Shelia, am I saying your name correctly or am I massacring it, friend? Shelia, are you with us? You are on mute. Hi, Shelia. Going once, going twice. All right, good night, Shelia. You are welcome back next time. Another question for the panel. Do recent congressional hearings indicate a genuine shift towards openness? Do recent congressional hearings indicate a genuine shift towards openness? What do y'all think?
Can you, I'm sorry, Wendy, my phone was interrupting me. Can you say it one more time? Sorry.
Sure. Do recent congressional hearings indicate a genuine shift towards openness?
Yes.
Okay. Robin says yep. A couple of people down in the chat are disagreeing. And Gypsy says yes. Astra, what are your thoughts?
Yes. And from the first to the second, even more. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow, it's a really mixed bag in here. I think interesting. Carol, yeah.
Yeah, I think that it is generating openness, but I don't know that they wanted it to be that way. I think they were kind of forced to have that happen because of all of the whistleblowers and all of the pressure and all of the public, interest, honestly. I don't think it's necessarily only a distraction, but I think it's actually part of it. And that's kind of why it's being geared towards specific avenues, right? Like we talked about the fact that they only really disclosed the grays in the movie. Well, I think they're only kind of hitting on certain topics specifically for that reason, to keep us narrow-minded in the way of disclosure. But I think the hearings are pushing openness. I think it's definitely making people question more things. And I think a lot of people even thought that just the fact that they had that disclosure was here, like, guys, this is here. Like nobody was really talking a whole lot about it at the time that it was happening. But I think that the openness is stemming from it. I just don't know that it was, really wanted.
All right. Thanks so much, Carol. Who else? Nobody else has.
So when we talk about like the openness, right? So does man create snow, or does it respond to snow when it's available?
It responds. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm bringing to that is like the connection, right? The connection to going back to the 40s. I was thinking about something, Wendy. The aliens are demons. Because during that time is when the movement began, right? Because it was the right cycle. And so like right now it's like kind of seeing like, I think it's openness because there's a great compassion in the universal temperature. And that's what I was getting at, that's all.
No, I knew it. I love it. Thank you, Astro. So again, guys, the question is, do recent congressional hearings indicate a genuine shift towards openness? Anybody else weighing in on this? And if you are on the panel, I need you to have an opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, I think emphatically yes, because it makes you question pretty much everything. If you haven't questioned it before, when you start to see this coming out in the congressional hearings and on your news channels and things like that, it's going to make you think, what am I not? Am I missing something? Which is going to make you then question yourself and your own thoughts. And what you believe is how you see reality. So if you start questioning your reality, you're going to open up to other possibilities. So yeah, I think that tracks. It's opening up the narrative that we are not alone here, and we've been waiting for that for so long. So those for us who already believe it, that's one thing. But for the ones who don't, I think that this is going to definitely, shake up their thought process of what's going on. And holy shit, like maybe all this time I just haven't been seeing things the way that they are. I've just been, living in my day-to-day bubble, which I call that man-constructed program, So I think, yeah, once you start questioning it, it's definitely going to open yourself up to different belief systems.
All right, thanks so much, Gypsy. So again, do recent congressional hearings indicate a genuine shift towards openness? I agree with all of you. Yes, I think some in government are genuine as shit. Particularly in Congress, they're pissed, actually. They want the technology. People like Tim Burchett, particularly, they want disclosure. I think the Department of Defense and the Intelligence Agency and Special Access Programs are absolutely not open to disclosure and are currently blocking the real files, the real evidence, your in-the-face evidence from coming forward. So I think it's a yes and no answer. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this one?
No, I would agree with that. There is no Congress. I would agree with that stuff, but we kind of know that the military is reluctant to do that because, you know, for example, look how long it took for Agent Orange and other projects of Vietnam to do that. Unfortunately, the military wants to keep secrets for everything, you know, for various reasons. But yeah, but I think also too, it's kind of, in my opinion, of the JFK thing that because of what's happened on a massive scale, that they're kind of, you know, it's like playing in poker. You're forcing the hand to have that conversation because you can't, you know, once it's out there, you can't take it back, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, Gideon. Aware Mind, welcome back. How are you? Hi, Aware Mind. You with us?
Hi there, Wendy. How's it going?
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you. Do you have any thoughts on whether or not congressional hearings indicate that a genuine shift towards openness is happening?
Yeah, well, I think there must be like a sort of a readiness or something that they have assessed that people have reached. Maybe that like from the information that I've like heard, there was some sort of assessment that they made in I think George Bush Senior's time that people weren't ready for disclosure. So I think the fact that they've like sort of changed their mind almost certainly indicates that that even, you know, people in the higher ups in the military or in the government have assessed that the population is more ready. Either that or they have a sort of a particular you know, interest in people having this kind of new set of information to sort of play with, and that's sort of my opinion on it.
All right, good to see you again, my friend. Thanks so much for joining. Let's jump down to Antonio. Hi, welcome to the panel. How are you?
Doing great, doing good. I would say that you know, I love the topic. I love everything that's great. I think again, for me, being close to military family, I would say that the wait is not over. We're never going to get to where we need to get as far as an intelligent species, as far as I am concerned. But what I will say is that we do develop technologies that are beyond our capabilities. And I think that we will never get beyond the capability of discovering something beyond, I don't know, FTL. But I do think that we live in a time where we have the capability to do that, like, and we're just not going to try to access that type of technology because it'd be a waste of time. It'd be a waste of money, which is where we're actually trying to like fund. Like, we're not trying to like access technology beyond what we can do. We're more so trying to just say, hey, how much money can we spend towards this? And I think that's the thing that's going to take us back. If that makes sense. And I'm not saying that in a bad way because trust me.
No, it makes sense. No.
I would love to be Madeline L. Engel and we can all go a wrinkle in time. I would love to go there.
Yeah.
I would love to go to that platform. Trust me, I love that book is greater than anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like the powers that be, I'm not going to say any names, but the powers that be, they always want to say, we have that technology, we have that power, which we do, but we're never going to, I mean, if you just analyze just general principles about time, space, whatever it may be, we're not going to get there. I mean, and that's what they're telling us. And that's what they're telling us. Now, we can fold space and time. Like if you ever folded a piece of paper from one spot to another, you would know that you'd be like, oh, okay, I can make it there right there. But most of the time, what we do is we say, we just can't make it there. We know we can make it there. We just don't have the means to do it. Landing the plane on that is that basically we as humans are not going to make it there. So we have to say, theoretically, do we make it there as a human species? Theoretically, do we make it in our minds? Or are we just doomed? I hate to say that word. Please don't hurt me. But are we? Are we? Are we? I should say we are assigned to the fate of, hey, this is not our moment. But in my mind, I do believe we can make it. I do believe that. Yeah. It's like the Matrix, right? Like if you believe that you can make it, you can make it. But maybe making it is not our assigned fortitude. Maybe we make it in a different way. Maybe what people believe is, I don't know, religion, or maybe they believe it as something that's some type of scientific altitude. We make it that way.
Yep.
But right now, I would say, and I watched a whole documentary about this on this, so don't think I'm just talking. But like, I was like, they're like, there's 13 different universes, and I'm like, oh, okay, well. And I spent 5 hours watching this thing, and then I spent another 5 hours watching this thing on this thing, and I was like, wow, I'm more confused than ever.
Well, thank you for that story. It was wow. So, Wendigo.
Yeah, perfect. Great timing, Astro. Thanks so much. All right. So according to Michael Schellenberger, an investigative journalist who's currently working with Congress, and 3 microengineers turned whistleblowers, we already have the technology to go all of those places. That's what Congress is currently talking about in skip hearings. Whether or not you think that your own elected officials are credible or not, I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to jump back to the prompt. Is the wait almost over? And I asked lots of panelists this question at the beginning of the live, and a lot of them said it's over. It's already happened. We already know disclosure has happened. Oh, but has it? Has it really now? Do you have 0 point energy installed in your home? Are you currently using?
Quick thing. I say it's over.
Antonio, hell no. Hell no. I need you to stay muted, friend, when other people are talking. So do you guys currently have 0 point energy installed in your home? Right? You currently using levitation technology? How's that med bed working out for you? So I would argue that disclosure has not yet happened, at least a full disclosure has not yet happened outside of individual experiences with ETs or an inner knowing. So let's talk technology. Are we ready for the technology, guys? What are your thoughts?
No. We are so, if we can't even handle the fact that there's other species existing, what makes us think? I mean, we freak out over freaking AI, dude. Like, artificial intelligence, man-made intelligence, it's only as smart as you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we really think that we're going to be able to handle something as something as phenomenal as 0 point energy, Wendy? Do we really? I mean, no. The majority, no. Do we think that we're going to be able to handle med beds? No, because it's so unfathomable to people, and it's such an unknown factor that they're like, no, it's bad, it's all bad. The cell phone in your hand is bad and evil. No, we can't handle it. Are you kidding me? We're barely getting a grasp on that.
All right, Robin says no, not yet. We're just not there yet. All right, who else wants to weigh in? Just a reminder, if you don't have the floor, I need you to stay muted up. And 2-minute share times per person. Technology, we ready as a species? What do you guys think?
Okay, I'll weigh in real quick. So I believe that we are, well, I mean, who am I to say that we're ready or not? But yeah, I get what you're saying, Robin, so I'm going to lean towards that. But, so if I were to say that it's already begun, like, you know, we opened the box, I believe that we are closer than we think, but not as close. And there's a reason why I brought 2030, and we can do a whole segment on that in a couple of weeks if you want. Because it aligns with a lot of things, too, that have to do with technologies, the connection to it. So.
Right on. Thank you so much, Astro. Who else? Are we ready?
I would love to weigh in on this.
Yeah, please.
So there's a practice called Wei Gong, and it's an Eastern Chinese practice, right? And this practice has been kept secret for many, many years, and it involves utilizing your own qi to move energy and to create and also destroy. I think it was initially developed along with like Tai Chi to use in battle. And so there's a reason that these things have been kept secret in these different places of the world. The quote unquote secret societies, it's the same thing, right? So knowledge can be dangerous as well. So if we are incapable of utilizing our own energy without possibly weaponizing it, I think it would be hard to fathom that we could use free technologies like open source energy because of the possibility of weaponizing it with each person's use. And that's really sad to say, but unfortunately, we become greedy. And I would like to think that we are more empathetic and compassionate towards our fellow humans, but you piss some people off, they will, KILL over less. So I feel like, I'm ready. I feel like we would really benefit from some of the technology. I just don't think all of it should be disclosed at once.
Right on. Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you. All right, who else? Advanced technology. Gypsy, you're up.
Okay, so I think that some of us are ready for some of it. I think that if it all came out tomorrow, it would probably bring a lot of chaos. But I think that if, 0 point energy, they're not going to give us that at this point because it lines their pockets incredibly. Unfortunately, I don't think, in my opinion. Med vets, there you got big pharma, right? So, I mean, I see where the ones that are not for the betterment of humanity and more for the self-serving, but I also think that there are ones that are for the betterment of humanity. So I think that some of us would be ready for it and that some others would not. I think that it possibly could ball out of control. So I think that it's probably going to be little by little given to us. As far as a whole, are we ready for it? Not at this moment. But I do think that there are some that could handle it responsibly. And that's my opinion, and that's like a straight answer, because I really think that people with bad intent would use it, they'd weaponize it. So, and keep it for, I think it would be segregated. Like, it kind of already is, you know. So I think it is going to take a little bit for that part to come. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think we're closer than we've ever been before. I can land there.
All right. Thank you, Gypsy. Thank you. Gideon, what are your thoughts? We ready for advanced technology?
Ready and able to handle it, I think, are two different things. I mean, if you look at the course of human history, things change. You know, you have the Bronze Age, the Iron Age that changed in little drips and drabs. And kind of, you know, that saying, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, one should be responsible with these things. But the problem too is, you know, we have that internal struggle on the planet of light and darkness going on that, you know, like other people have echoed on here, that they want to use it for themselves. So, you know, things change, but it also, I believe that it's how can I say this? The analogy would be like baking a cake or something. There's a lot of ingredients that have to go making that thing, but you still got to put the work into it. Otherwise, that cake isn't going to do itself unless we're in Fantasia, you know, in Disney. So it just takes a lot of ingredients, and, you know, ETs also are cautious about humans too, and can't blame them. So that's where I'm going to park my boat.
I'll take it. Thanks so much, Gideon. Aware Mind, you weighing in?
Yeah, well, something that's sort of been happening more and more recently is, you know, the super wealthy seem to have this goal of transhumanism, and possibly partly with the sort of idea of being able to get to other, you know, create other bases on other planets, but maybe also to travel to, you know, other solar systems and stuff too, which might sort of, one thing that they might be sort of aiming for is to sort of digitize our minds, like I mentioned in the chat. There's already been sort of some experiment where they sort of recreated all the connections of the neurons in the brain of a fruit fly, and they managed to sort of have the fruit fly consciousness that they had mapped out play a sort of a program, and it was actually doing the fruit fly behavior that it apparently should have done, given the way that they had mapped out the brain of a real fruit fly. It was actually performing that way. So I think the goal is definitely to eventually be able to digitize individuals' consciousness in a way to sort of live an immortal sort of life as digitized, and possibly be able to be returned into biology after being digitized too. I think that's probably one of the goals. Yeah, because I think, you know, these people see life as too short and want to you know, live for a lot longer than the human lifespan is naturally going to be, you know.
All right. Thanks so much, Aware Mind. Antonio, you weighing in on this one? Advanced technology. I think you said you don't think we have it, right? Do you want to weigh in? Antonio, are you with us? Bottom right-hand box. You are on mute. Going once, twice. All right. All right. Abu, welcome to the panel. How are you? Am I alone in the room, guys? Can somebody acknowledge that you guys can hear me?
You're good. How are you?
All right, good,
Welcome. How are you? I am Abu Adam from Gaza, Palestine.
Hi, Abu. Did you want to weigh in? Abu, did you want to weigh in, friend? Okay, and then there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let me weigh in on advanced technology really quick, and then I have a weird question for you guys about owls. I think it's probably a bad idea, right, to give terrorists the technology to transfer a big-ass missile from 6,000 miles away to the White House steps in 5 minutes or less. I think it's a very very bad idea. So there would need to be some type of global agreement, some type of global unity. I'm with the slow roll theory. Tip of the hat to Stephen Greer. I agree with you, buddy. I think that it's going to take a hot minute before we evolve to the point where we can handle some of this advanced technology. On a personal level, bring it. On a collective level, no, let's go slow. To the panel, somebody wants to know, what's the significance of owls? Interesting question. What do you think, y'all?
Well, with native lore, I'm speaking from a native perspective, being one, the owl, depending on the tribe, can be a sign, of misfortune. Mexican lore, they consider it bad, but also the owl can also be a bringer of wisdom, because, an owl sees large at night. It uses the light to amplify the night, and, it goes hoo-hoo, and it travels at night. So it's kind of like I said, a bringer of wisdom. That's my take on it. And also, from what I remember, that I'm not too sure about it, but this is just what I've heard, that it can also be a sign of ancestral lineage within the family, that your family has, stronger connection with ETs and stuff too.
I talk to owls all the time. I have for years. I have 3 now that I go out and talk to at night. I've seen 2 of them and photographed them. They've come down right close to me on a branch. I've got a great horned and a barred. I've got a lot of pictures of. I've been talking for years. I think that there was a movie. What was it? The Fourth Kind, with the owls. They said they look like owls. I think it was had to do with the Mothman prophecy. But I know that there's a lot of different correlations between the ETs. I think it's within the eyes. But owls have incredible vision. They're stealthy as hell, and they can literally swivel their head and see everything. I think that there's a lot of correlation between owls and extraterrestrials in different movies that we've seen and different documentaries. Owls are a huge totem for people too, like an animal guide. They're mine. I have 2. So I think there's a big correlation. I think it has a lot to do with the eyes and the way that they can see. Also, I think it has to do with what took place when everybody was saying that they were seeing owls, and they were having experiences that were more like ET experiences than an actual owl. I think that's where part of it comes from.
I think you get to anybody else on the significance of owls?
Yes.
Particularly, actually, sorry to put you on the spot, but particularly in terms of ETs. Have any thoughts on that? If not, no worries. Go for it.
Yes, well, it's connected because the owl is what is underneath. And so there's a connection of what is not seen within the daytime, but it's seen within the veil. And it represents the embodiment of Scorpio, for a fun fact. That's all I have.
All right, I love it. Thanks so much, Astro. Carol, yes, please, you're up.
Yeah, so I've heard that a significant amount of people who have contact have actually seen owls right prior to the contact. I think that's an interesting fact about owls, being the fact that they are sort of like wisdom totems in the Native American medicine wheel. So yeah, I think that's pretty interesting that people actually see them. So I had an experience once where an owl showed up in my garage.
Anybody else on owls? Anybody else on owls?
They're one of the traditional sort of familiar animals for, I suppose, witches or wizards and stuff, right? Like they're obviously in Harry Potter because of that. We'll have as a, I don't know, a friend or ally in invoking entities, I suppose.
All right, I'll take that as well. Thank you, Aware Mind.
So if we look at it in the aspect of for a couple different things, right? So as far as the ETs go, right, it's something that is above or below us, and it sees probably more than what we see, right? So owls, in relation to something like that, if you look at the fact that they can turn their head 360 degrees, right? Like, or not, well, anyways, you get what I'm saying. And then that they can pretend that they're asleep during the day, even though they do tend to sleep during the day, but they can also pretend that they're asleep. They can blend in with other things and make themselves, blend with the background, and they are really only knowing that they're there when they do their hoot, when they do their language, right, to speak to another or to give a warning, right? And so if you think about like experiences, right, they could be blending in with us. There could be ETs, people have said many times, walking amongst us, right? And then the fact that they can also, their legs are a lot longer than what they actually are presented at, right? So if you look at them and you think, oh, they have such short legs. No, owls actually have really, really, really long legs, but they're just, that's kind of like their hidden trick or whatever, if you will, right? My phone's vibrating, sorry. But that's what I think I have.
Interesting. I didn't know that, Robin. Thank you. Chocolate, what's up?
Hi there. I'm just joining, so I'm trying to find a conversation to jump into. Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're fine. We're talking about UAP disclosure. We're talking about advanced technology, and right now we're talking about owls. Would you like to weigh in on any of those?
Sure. I'll weigh in on UAP and disclosure. Give me something to go off of.
Well, what are your thoughts on UAPs and disclosure? Do you think it's a thing?
Oh, 110%. Very real. We've been definitely trying to understand them for the last at least 70 years.
All right, I'll take it. All right, thanks, Chocolate.
Yeah.
Right, so are people starting to awaken because ETs and disclosure are near, or is disclosure near because the collective is awakening? What are your thoughts on that? Chocolate, I'm going to have you mute up just so there's no feedback, because we have 1,000 people in the room. Robin, you're up first. Go for it.
I'm going to say both. I'm going to truly say both. I think that it's the yin and yang, right? It's the duality of experience or existence, period. Like, our chat is just like coming in hot. when we realize the duality of how things work, right? There has to be the push and the pull. And so when we know that that's the maintaining of energy in order to move us forward, it's not going to be that there's one is exactly first and then the other is second. It's going to be the even of it. So I think it's both.
All right, thanks, Robin. Caro, you said both as well, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a vibrational thing going on there. So I think we're attracting it because most of us nowadays are awakening. And I see it too, like out in public and just the other day I was thinking, I don't even see that many people. I literally saw a group of people in a grocery store talking about this particular subject. Like maybe it was because of Disclosure Day. I didn't stick around because I didn't want to be like weird and eavesdropping, but they were actually talking about UAPs. And I was thinking to myself, maybe it is a lot more broad than I initially thought, because I feel like we are just a drop in a hat right here in this, little corner that we're in. But maybe it is a lot more broad. So I think it's both, because there is a collective awakening, but also I think the others, right, our soul star families, I think they're also wanting it as well. I don't think it's just one or the other. I think it's all around, coming from different places.
Makes sense to me, Carol. All right, anybody else weighing in on this one? Are people starting to awaken because ETs and disclosure are near, or is disclosure near because the collective is awakening?
So I think a huge part of it is because the collective is awakening, but I also think that, I think the ETs they're near, disclosure is coming, and I think we're pulling it in as a collective. But I also think that there might be frustration on the other side of it too. There's been so much hidden for so long, and it's just, we've been coexisting without it being known. I mean, like, imagine being like a secret, like the secret, and you've been here forever. I think that it's a bit of both. I think it's both as well. I think though that as the collective grows, I think that we will push the narrative closer and closer to the surface, for sure.
Right, thanks so much. Gypsy Chocolate, you're up.
Yeah, I think they're contacting us more because we're possibly on the brink of global annihilation, and they need us for some reason, honestly.
All right, Chocolate. Thanks so much for your perspective. Who else?
So, have we, if we go back in time, like on the Mayans and the Incas, and actually if you look into even the Nazca lines, there's even a depiction of an astronaut. So maybe, isn't this maybe something that's already happened before? Even Constantine, if you listen to that story, right? He had a visitor.
Ooh.
I don't know where to go. You know what I mean? And who's Constantine? Well, because of Constantine, we have Christianity, just quote unquote. There you go.
Ooh, cool. All right. Thanks, Astro. All right. Anybody else? Don't drop buzzwords down below. A special shout out to all the fearmongers down below. You just come in droves in the past 15 minutes. Damn. Well done. To the people that were like, I love Jesus, repent, I love Jesus, sweet. Pretty sure Jesus believed in aliens, so why is this sin for you to do so? Anybody want to weigh in on that? Because that comes up a lot.
I don't think it's a sin. There's a certain verse that says all life on earth was created special by Jesus, but it only says earth, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like you could still be Christian.
Yeah, Chocolate. Hold on, just a second. Just a sec. Chocolate. Hi. You been drinking?
No, I'm trying to stop hiccuping.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Hence the question because of the hiccuping. All right, Robin, what was that? You're up.
I mean, I was going to say, I don't know if I can really answer that because, I think I'm going to make believe hell for my opinion on it. So maybe I shouldn't be the right one. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Clowning, not clowning. Sorry, not sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Who else?
Okay.
Is it okay to, I'm just going to clarify. So is it okay to believe in God and also believe in ETs? Because we have a lot of people, and when I say a lot, I mean a fucking lot of people that come in here every night and they're like, no! They see the picture of the ET and it's like a literal knee-jerk, no, I believe in Jesus. Okay, great. Me too, man. He was cool as shit. Why can't you believe in both? Why can't you believe in both? So let's talk about it. Why are so many people in this boat that you can't do both? You can't believe in both. There are rules. Gideon, you're up.
Well, to answer that last point, it's because they're programmed into the accepted printed Bible, which really, if you look at it, it varies because if we take even different Christian denominations, different versions of it, there's a bunch of other Gnostic books. My personal belief, there's different versions of it. There's a bunch of other Gnostic books.
Listen, shut off your Bluetooth. I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead, Gideon. Oh my God, one moment.
Is this better?
Okay,
Probably
let's
me.
try this. No, it's not you. Okay, listen, but please go ahead and shut off your Bluetooth before you come back up on the panel. It's causing mad feedback. Gideon, you're up. Sorry.
So my opinion on Jesus, whatever you want to call him, he definitely was an ET by very definition. To me, it's no contradictory to believe in God, the source, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Great Spirit and other various names. Because by very definition, if you examine the text of Genesis, it does talk about that. It says, let us make man in our image. So to me, that would logically show that, something created out of Earth, so that is extraterrestrial. With Yeshua, he definitely had powers beyond this world. I believe he learned, obviously, stuff from there. There's a lot of evidence he traveled the world. But once again, Venetian energy from Venus is love, Karen, which is similar to Palladian frequency. So definitely, there's no contradiction in that. And to me, it actually would kind of support it more. The only reason why I know, because I've been through the Christianity red hole and other stuff, is because, they want to say that, oh, he embodied both, a manly flesh and that too. But you're not allowed to do that. And I think that's total BS, because it just dummies down people. It shows you that you're not worthy when we're really all from creation, from the source. So that to me is an entrapment. And it's saying that you're not allowed to, you only can look upwards. It doesn't mean you can't look upwards, but also within yourselves, which he even says in that text that the temple is within. Why historically did the temple of Jerusalem get destroyed? In my personal opinion, it might not be popular, is that because it's shown that you don't need a physical temple like the older days. It's called, archaeological evolution and entomology. Things change. Why is it that they're in Samaria, where Abraham came? Why are all those temples not there anymore? You don't need it anymore. You don't need physical temples. It's within our souls. The mitochondria shows the map of the universe within us. So that's where I'm going to park my boat.
All right, I'll take it, Gideon. Thanks so much. All right, who else?
No, just to agree with Gideon, he says, you won't find me in a rock nor in wood. If you look inside yourself, and I'll be there. So if God, Jesus, whatever you are relating to, is within you and created everything and created all these trillions of galaxies, why would we be, and how could we think that we are the only intelligent life form on the planet? That doesn't make sense to me. Or even in the universe is even more crazy sounding to me. I think that if source is within inside us, if God is inside us, right, and we really have nothing to fear. We're infinite. We're energy. So if there's other beings, which there are, in my opinion, that we live with and have lived with for so long, and were here before even we were, and other ones coming in from galaxies, maybe through portals or through vortexes or whatever, interdimensional beings coming in, they would all be created by God if God created everything. So why can't you believe in God and believe in aliens? If both are biological, and then we go to energy, and then we turn to energy, and we're infinite. So I don't see where the problem is in believing in both. And where did it ever come to be that the fallen angels were ETs? That doesn't even make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I can land there.
All right, thank you, Gypsy. Volanto, hey, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, yeah, I'm good, thank you. How's everyone? I hope everyone's well.
Yeah, it's a little rowdy in here tonight. A little bit sassy. Yeah. That's okay. We're here for it. What do you think? Is it okay? Because Lots of people repent in the name of Jesus. Fall on your knees, repent. You're going to hell if you believe in ETs. Why can't you do both? If one God created all of it, why can't there be more than one species? What are your thoughts, my friends?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of parallels to scriptures and texts. That's the interesting thing when you read Bible, or you look back into a lot of belief systems. There's always this idea that there's going to be a time where God comes back or something steps in. There's going to be D-Day essentially, or something like this. So there are a lot of parallels about a return of something. So, and if you look into the Bible, there is no specific scripture saying that these entities do not exist. I said before, I mean, if God did exist, he might have created a separate storyline for these ETs. We don't know. There is possibilities that we can't comprehend. But I personally read the Sumerian texts, and that sort of predates a lot of some of the Christian scriptures. And there are a lot of similarities with those texts that, indicate more strongly that there are ETs that have came down to give us the knowledge of good and bad. So if you're interested, it's quite good to read the Bible or other texts, because you can get an understanding of what the Sumerians were talking about, but it's just slightly different translation. It's been it's changed. So yeah, just getting to the point, I think there's nothing wrong with believing in God and aliens at the same time. I do think that even angels are just another description of an alien, really. I know people don't like hearing that, but anything that isn't human is technically alien to me. So a spirit is alien. So yeah.
I'll take it. Could not agree more. Thanks so much, Volanto. Nathan, welcome back. How are you?
I'm very well. I see one of the biggest things is with, especially the Bible, Moses took the Ark of the Covenant out of the temple. There are 4 Ark Covenants just in the Giza platform alone. He couldn't have took the others. You have to acquire. He was adopted and he knew these things, but he took the Ark of the Covenant. What I'm saying is that Christ seems to represent one who has achieved oneness with his Father. It's what the book says. And that's a relationship. But that's the Ark Covenant from when kingship was descended down. It made how our iotas of the pneuma's gamma, how the gamma waves run through, doesn't hit the pneuma once you know enough about the alpha before you throw in the towel. It's just so weird how we learn and we fight against things and wrestle with things until we learn a right action, and then we change. That's King David. Our kingdom's divided the same way. It's a 10 base and a 6 base. The JUU, even though there's a culture that says Jew, JEW, but the W represents both sides of the heart, holding and going, like work, want, waste, things like that. The M is the double hold down of your heart, going forward, like more, most, morning, things that the different emotion. It's the gold and the silvers combining. But it's 4 primordial elementals that govern the 3rd dimension, and the Yahavadhe is one. And it's important to pay attention to attend, but we are all the forward, for it's all for us. It just wants to know how we like it. And pain usually comes in when we're not going forward properly, it seems. We might be doing something right, but just not quite right. We always have that diminished capacity, but we are the overcomer, the adapa, the adapter of something new. And I can land that.
All right. Good to have you back, Nathan, my friend. All right. Lusimba. How do I say your name? Lusimba?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to the panel. Sorry for dropping you early. Mad feedback.
I understand.
Would you like to weigh in on this?
Okay, it's the same question, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So in the Ethiopian Bible that was not touched by colonizers, it talks about watchers. In the book of Jubilees, it talks about celestial beings. It talks about that people would call demons. It talks about how the Nephilim got here It talk about races outside of that populated the planet Earth as we know it. And even to this day, people in East Africa and Ethiopia talk about these things in such a way, you know, they sign in for it. So I think there's some political stuff that tried to silence our knowledge of beings outside of that we know. And that's what I have. I'll land right there.
All right. Thanks so much, Lusimba. Anybody else want to weigh in before we move on? Going once, twice. All right. So many people come in here and say, ETs are good. ETs are bad. No, they're good. No, they're bad. They're good. Nope, they're bad. So many labels. So let's talk about it. I'll be honest, I have very few panelists, very few, right, who don't talk in terms of labels at least once a night. So with that being said, are good and bad a thing, or is it all simply perception? Robin, what are your thoughts?
Oh my God, this is my favorite freaking topic ever.
It was time to veer left. It was time. Yes. So go for it.
Thank you so much. You just gave me Christmas in the middle of summer. So like, here's the thing, okay? Good and bad. Good and bad. What is good? What is bad? Because let's say hypothetically, okay, that everybody believes that it's not okay to unalive somebody, right? And so we all are like, no, it's wrong and blah, 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 until something personal has been done to you. Like somebody has taken one of your family members, unalived one of your family members, a child, a best friend, whatever the case may be, right? And then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to do the same to that person that committed that crime against you. So then is where the majority of the people would probably say, well, heck yes, I'm going to, because it's an eye for an eye. So it's so subjective, the good and the bad, and how it's so like when it's convenient for me, then it's good. But when it's not convenient for me, it's bad. Right. And so somebody else can see my good as being bad and vice versa. So it's literally just a resonance for what fits for me and what does not fit for me. That's all the good and bad should be intended for. It shouldn't be used to measure or like against a person. A person cannot be good or bad. It's the behavior that is good or bad, air quotes, right? And if we just try to change the way we look at something, the something we're looking at changes. So good and bad is really just opportunity. Think about it that way.
I'll take it. Thank you so much, Robin. I'm going to jump to Volanto. Let's hear it. Labels, good and bad, are they even a thing?
I believe that we all are born with a moral compass. Like the Soul's Journey was saying, we all know at the time we shouldn't do certain things. It's just a part of it's in our DNA. We've been programmed with understanding that. But obviously it does change with environmental change. We tend to start to make our own decisions. But I personally like to feel powerful in myself, and so that I feel that, you know, it gives me the ability to continue, really. So real power for me is having the ability to do something that I know is wrong, that I have the justice, you know, like we was talking about, if someone unalives someone close to us, we then are in a position to unalive that person. Real power comes from the ability of having that opportunity but choosing not to do it, you know, going against yourself. Having that strength, for me, that is the key to life. Choosing to go against our desire to do something we know goes against our original moral compass. That's real strength. It may be very hard, but yeah, that's how we will communicate with these ETs. But that is that awareness, that love that we're all born with. As an inner child, again, I repeat, being children, having love is the key to life. Just because we have the power to do something doesn't mean it's power. The power is choosing not to do it.
Well said, Volanto. Thank you so much. Robin, I'm jumping back up.
Yeah, no, I just wanted, I loved what you just said. Like, that was freaking fabulous. And I wanted to kind of throw into, because I was like so excited when you gave me Christmas presents in the middle of June, that I forgot to say, like, the fact that, like, we label something so permanently, because if you think about your awareness, think about your growth through life. Right? So something that you may have 20 years ago been like, oh my God, that is so bad. It's so bad for you. Or no, you shouldn't do that. That's bad. Like, okay, but now, hold on a minute. Do you still see it that way? Or do you see things that you used to think were good? Like, it's so good to sneak out of my house and like get in trouble by my parents. And it's so good to be like the rebel without a cause. And it's so cool. And then now, do you look back and see it as, oh, maybe that wasn't such a great decision? Or option C, do you look back and say, you know what? I wouldn't change it because it was an experience that was meant for me to grow through so I could be who I am today. Just asking for a friend, Wendy.
All right. Thanks so much, Robin. All right, panel, are good and bad a thing?
Yeah, they're absolutely a thing. Sure, it's a thing, right? We made it a thing. In essence, does it exist like outside of our first person experience? No, I don't believe it does. I think what we consider to be good or bad is all invoked by emotion. And so we consider something like a heinous crime to be bad because of the emotion that it invokes within us. I just don't think that it is any different than any other experience. When it all comes down to it, it is just that. It's just an experience. It's just a vibration. So you could call it what you want to call it, but I think labels sometimes contort and confuse what's really going on. And as Robin just, so eloquently noted, it's all about the lesson. You're going to learn something from it, regardless of how it makes you feel. So yeah, is it a thing? Yeah, we kind of made it a thing. But in essence, I don't think in the universe it actually exists like we think that it does.
My thoughts concerning that would be that if it affects, and what you do, if your choices affects someone in a not so receiving way, outside of you, that would be considered bad. Our five senses are connected to our nervous system. Nervous system is talked about, some say, in an allegorical way, as the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Nervous system. How you perceive the knowledge of good and evil is through your nervous system. So if you receive something from an outside force, this is just my opinion, it would probably be considered a certain way on certain levels. How a person interprets your interaction with them. If they receive it as bad, then it's bad, and maybe you should correct that. And if you have the opportunity to ask to be pardoned for a wrong done to an individual outside of yourself. And those are my thoughts.
All right, thanks, Lasimba. Speaking of good and bad, it's going to be bad if you have a fire and you don't change the battery on that smoke detector, my friend. All right, who else wants to weigh in?
I do. I mean, just even in the words good, the gamma hits the Omicron, hits the wave patterns in the okay state on the delta. But bad, the beta waves are alpha on the delta. It's just, I think the D's, the tree from Demi and serotonin will come in when things are good. And the autonomics on the left hemisphere. It's got the 10 base, so it just sits there and rides the delta waves to a sting when things feel bad. That would be the lack of the dopamines. I forget which compound it would be, but it would make you drop to your knees if it's the right thing. And it is all electrically, but through chemistry from microbes and things that give us these things. It's so crazy how it works, but that is the energy states through serotonin mainly, I think, is what gives the House of Brahman, Abraham, what he needs when he needs it. You know what I mean? There's in the book it talks about he needed this, so he got that. I can land that.
Thank you, Nathan.
So I kind of see it two ways. So I agree with what Volanto said. We do have a moral compass or a knowing. And like my father was unalived, and I'm not going to monologue on this. I'm just going to tell you that I've been face to face with the person who did that within the same vicinity. I've been like 4 feet away from them and made a choice to not do anything about that and to not freak out, even though inside I was kind of freaking out totally. But I walked away from that. I got in the car and I left. So I could have done something, and thoughts of it were definitely there. But I made a choice. I made a decision, and I felt good. I felt like I made the right choice. So I think that we do have a moral compass, and we know what is the better thing to do for us individually. But I also have seen things that have happened in my life that have been considered what someone would say were atrocious. And those things that took place ended up making me a better, wiser, stronger person who could then empathize and help not only myself to grow, but others as well, and help them. So it's all where you're sitting, I think, how you see it. And so, yeah, I believe we do have a moral compass. I believe we have a knowing. I believe there's a time to act and there's a time not to from where you're sitting. I think it's, in the eyes of the beholder. But I also believe that sometimes shitty things happen and evoke the biggest awakenings inside of us, that if that thing were not to happen, I would not be the person I am today. So, therefore, I can see it from two perspectives. And I like that I can, and I can learn.
The goal to having a moral compass is to know that the opposite of that is called primordial instinct. That is the id versus the superconscious. The balance is the ego, or rather it is inflated, deflated, or balance in the middle. The id versus the superconscious, the moral compass versus the primordial instinct. It is an individual's duty to find the balance within themselves by analyzing your emotions or your 7 passions that constructs those emotions.
So, and I think like it's so crazy that like, oh, the good and bad, it's the resonance, because like, is it good or bad if somebody is lying to you or whatever, right? Is it good or bad if somebody wants to be triggered or is triggered by something? Is it good or bad but if we look at it, right, and we like be the seat of observation for just a moment, right? And even if you're triggered, even if you have this emotional attachment to the situation or whatever experience is being placed in front of you, instead of trying to figure out if it's good or bad or if it's shitty or not shitty, then maybe we should just look at it and say, wait a minute, why don't I not judge the situation? And why don't I just say, where can I grow from this? Where should I decide not to lie? Where should I decide not to, be a trigger for other people? Or am I walking as my authentic self when I present myself to the world? Or am I just, I think when we're insecure within ourselves, right, then that's when we find the separation of judgment, both for ourselves and for others, right?
Well said, Robin.
Well, and to add on, that's why we can have, for example, like good can feel painful because it breaks free from a false pattern. And bad can feel pleasurable because it feeds an old addiction. So subjective. Right? So you start to kind of see like what is good and bad, the adjective. There's an adjective, my voice, it's an adjective, right? And that adjective itself, you can see if you're coherent or are you distorted, right? Are you expressing or are you repressing? And so you can kind of start journaling yourself down to know if you've been a good human being that day. Because there's nobody who's good or bad. I mean, well, maybe some. Anyway, that's all I have.
All right, thanks so much, Pastor Gideon. Yep.
I'm going to say unequivocally there is good and bad. There's lightness and darkness, and to me, they don't separate. There's an old native saying that there are two wolves battling within our hearts. It says, which one are you going to feed? Now, with opportunity at what cost? If we look at the history, stop that. Sorry, my cat was biting me. If we look at the history of advancement stuff, at what cost? The beauty of the cost of the land that transforms, the beauty of people losing things, the smoked log-filled lungs and stuff. Is it bad? Is it not bad when someone unfortunately takes the innocence of a child and stuff that they didn't deserve, even if we sorry, getting a little emotional with that. It's hard for me. If they take the emotions of it, is that still not bad that they did that? Even if, as spiritual beings, we agree to that, it still doesn't take away the bad from that. But also, if you look at a forest too, it is bad, but also good that it happens because a forest can also grow from that. So, there's so many contexts with good and bad and evil, and how I feel about that. And if we look at history and stuff too, so is it also not wrong too if there are businesses that are not having fair business practices? Absolutely, because you're cheating people of not only of their monetary trust in you, but also your moral trust in each other, which ultimately can affect people and in effect destroy parts of the world within the world. So that's where I'm going to park my boat.
All right, thanks so much, Gideon. Jumping back up to Robin. Go for it, Robin.
So, and this is where everybody's gonna just have a field day with me, right? Because let's take, pick my battles. Let's take the age requirements away from everything. Let's take the whole aspect of the tangible person standing in front of you, whether they're short or tall, whether they're 7 or 27 or 77. Let's just look at it as like, if we are energy, and we come
0%.
0%.
The snowfall for today will
Yay. Be. It's the middle of June. Hello. Anyways, so if we look at it as just energy, I am a ball of energy, you're a ball of energy. That's what we come here as, period, right? But we have this human form that we take place in. That's how we experience life on Earth. So if we all have a path that we've chosen before we came here, whether we are a child or an adult or a senior citizen, we all have a path that was chosen. So therefore, anything that is happening, right, in our experience, I'm not going to say too, it's not me invalidating anybody's hurt, traumas, madness, whatever it is that you feel when situations happen to you. This is not me invalidating that at all. This is me just offering a new perspective. If we look at it as this is part of our path, and if the traumas that happened to me when I was younger, right, when I was a child, were exactly what needed to happen in order for me to be here in this moment, right here, right now, 652 of you. And every trauma that happened to you when you were a child had to happen in order for you to be right here, right now. So if you're liking yourself in this moment, I know I'm learning to love myself in this moment, right? If you're okay with where you're at today, regardless of your emotional attachment to anything that has happened prior to this moment, if you are okay, then that to me is what helped you to grow to be here. I'm not saying it didn't hurt. I'm not saying that it wasn't painful. It didn't cause discord in your life. I'm not saying it didn't cause chaos. But I'm saying every single thing that happened in your life had to go exactly the way it did for you to be right here, right now, as we are creating this moment. So now if we see it that way, then does it really, is it that there's an innocence that is gone? Yes, you hear my dog snoring. Is there that an innocence that is gone, or is there that is a knowledge that is applied? Because it could be the catalyst that makes a new law be passed. And I'm not saying it's okay to do things. I'm not justifying trauma. Nor am I trying to null it. I'm just offering a different perspective.
All right, thank you so much, Robin. All right, who else is weighing in before I say hello to JD? Volanto, yes, please.
Yeah, I agree. We have a journey, a path, a script. So I do agree with that. But also we do have the ability to make our decisions. And I'm finding a theme with every religion, everything I've been reading in history, sacrifice. And what does that mean? It's in good and bad. So anything that we, for instance, a good could be, today I want to chill and just play PlayStation, but then I know I have to contact all of my mates and say hello. Sometimes I'm like, it's a bit like, but then I do it and then I reap the rewards. So in a sense, that's a sacrifice. Or a sacrifice to make a decision about anything that we do. We have to give back to the universe. We have to give back that energy. Do you know what I like to do? I run to a park or a forest. I sit and cry with a tree. Don't care about any other human being looking at me. Because I'm now allowing the energy of the old universe, our ancestors, through the woods, through the roots, I was going to say mushrooms, but just through the earth. They're giving me the ability to process, and they're comforting me in their own way. That quantum energy, our ancestors, they're still here. The DNA, everything all flows. So don't rely just on our own understanding of things. Go to somewhere, meditate. That's my advice. Good or bad, we still need to take the advice of the earth, because that's what gets us closer to these ETs. That's what gets us closer to God, so to speak. It's all about taking a step back. Yes, we use discernment, but also we need to be vulnerable and allow ourselves to have the time to think with the universe. And we will get closer in that energy to the universe, to these aliens, and they're going to come find us.
All right, thanks so much, Volanto. JD, welcome to the panel. How are you?
I'm absolutely amazing, Wendy, and thank you so much for having me up on your panel.
You bet, you bet. Thank you for your patience. I recognize your voice. Have you changed your username, my friend?
No, I have not changed my username. I did change my picture profile a little bit.
That's probably it. All right, well, welcome back. Please weigh in. Interesting conversation so far.
Very interesting conversation. Of course, I can definitely relate. One of the things that I like to bring up, the fact that, like right now, a lot of the conversation, it reminds me of, as of late, I've had to reflect on a lot of different things and write down a lot of different things because, like I spoke of, before, that they're doing the documentary, and I've also decided to use a lot of that trauma and everything and turn it into comedy. So I literally have to reflect on so many things that have taken place. But I would say this much. Something that I did learn, and I know a lot of people may be able to relate to it or may not be able to relate to it, is that, not only are we energy, and the person that told me this and gave me basically an example and showed me how to feel a bit of that energy, shortly thereafter was taken away. And I think she knew she was going to leave, and that is Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC. And when we were on that trip in Honduras, and we took those herbs, those cleansing herbs, and I went through that entire experience to where my body could feel things, I could see things, I could hear things. It was so overwhelming to the point where I literally felt like I was trapped in this form. Literally, I felt like you could do anything you wanted to do, and the only thing that was holding you back was literally a body. And it was so overwhelming to the point where it literally bothered me, and I had to put it all in perspective. And luckily, Dr. Sabi's wife was available to explain to me, look, I just gave you a hint of what you would be in nature if you were not exposed to so many toxins and so many pollutants. And she explained that's why animals are able to flee when there are, catastrophic natural disasters on the way. How they have like almost a sixth sense to be able to know things are going to happen. And she said that we all have these gifts. It's just they've been dulled down to the point where they're almost numb. And in saying that, I believe that true enough, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And you're right, we would not be where we're at this moment if not for some of the things that we have experienced. And you already know, for those of you that do not know me, I've experienced some things, from being snatched up from another country to being sentenced to life and 80 years in federal prison to winning an appeal